Might you grant me the honor of hearing your name?
I am Ainzul Go.
Shaltir.
What? Why are you making
She's
that
so
strange
done.
pose?
Why, it only took a glance for me to realize that Lord Gone is a man of extraordinary status.
So you submit to me?
And now she's
At
happy.
the very least, I can find use for your parts.
Whoa!
My apologies, I assure you I only urinated out of unbridled joy.
Onkro Muchi Muchi said that her dog used to piddle when it was excited to see her.
Well, then perhaps I too should urinate to express the joy I feel standing beside you.
How about no? Also, the fact that you suggested that so casually is
What
kind
the
of creepy.
Yes, let's leave the public urination to the Pecks, please.
It was Peroncino that made her, right? That dude was into some nasty shit.
But perhaps you could save the boy's mother at least.
No promises, but I shall do my best.
That's very generous of you, your great majesty.
You needn't be quite so formal. So long as you are loyal, you may call me Ainz or Sorcerer King.
Dude, you are about to kill his
Thank
family.
you, your majesty.
I'll grind you to death.
Grasp hard.
Alright, even works on dragons. That was fast.
So I'll be killing the other two in short order.
It's
There's
me.
my son right there.
What? Did one mother lay your egg, one mother warm it, and one mother hatch it?
Yes, precisely so, your majesty. It is my great fortune to have 3 mothers.
That's so fucked, but it's really funny.
I've mulled it over, and I truly don't think there's anything here powerful enough to defeat our Death Knights. I can't help but feel that Lord Ain's concerns are a bit unfounded for once.
Were you always such a dope? If you were really
I
thinking,
hate-
you would have figured it out by now.
I really hate that Shaltir is the voice of reason here.
The only reason the Death Knights died is because they fell down the chasm. Their footprints were on one side of the bridge, but nowhere to be found on the other. If they didn't cross the bridge, then they must have fallen when it was destroyed.
Why didn't you mention that to Ainz?
You know how perceptive Lord Ainz is.
Oh
He
my
figured it out ages ago. I was checking the ground for footprints. He signaled for me to stay quiet before I said what happened to the Death Knights.
I thought he shushed you because he was talking. But wait,
Okay. While Aura may have been slightly more of a voice of reason than Shaltir, Shaltir was still more of a voice of reason than Ainz. That's concerning.
Once we're done with the massacre, we'll take you to the Sorcerer Kingdom.
I love how cheerful she sounds. I feel like she's the one who's always saying the most terrifying things with the most cheerful voice. This show has not been this violent in a while.
You think me a coward? I'll kill you.
Did they not tell you what?
Hard.
Yeah, did they not tell you what happened? What do you guys think would happen if he used that spell on Subaru from ReZero? Dude has that happen to him all the time, and Satella can literally pause time to do it to him. Do you think it would still work? These are the types of questions that keep power skillers up at night, I bet.
I am known to be a merciful king. I shall grant you a kindness that you would have. You've made me very proud today.
It was our pleasure.
oh, such kind words. Although I'll never forget the mistakes I've made, the shame in my heart.
What?
I love the just massive jump in quality when it goes from a shot that's even just moderately zoomed out like this to a close-up. Because, I mean, look at her face here.
You've made me very proud today.
It was our pleasure.
Oh, such
And now look at her face. I know you put more detail in when it's close up, but that's not a very far away shot to lose that much detail.
That they possessed a force strong enough to defeat my Death Knights? It seems that was a bit of poor judgment on my part.
It's all right, Lord Ainz. I already know.
Fuck.
You did that for me, so that I...
It would have been more interesting for both of these characters, and for Ainz, and for the show, if he had just admitted what had happened in the head and interrupted him. I feel like that could have massively shifted the show and how it plays out. With Shaltier, I don't think she'd be smart enough to understand anything, but I think that would massively influence how Aura viewed Ainz. And I feel like she might mention that to the others. I mean, they wouldn't believe her at first, but then they could have more moments of Ainz making those kinds of mistakes. I feel like that's a worthwhile angle to go at for this show. Because there's no way this could last for as long as it probably will. If this lasts for the whole fucking show, that's so unreasonable. There is no way you can coincidence yourself out of that many fuck-ups.
An impressive display of personal growth.
God damn it.
Though my mistake was a ruse this time, I am not all-knowing, and I'm just as capable of failure as anyone else.
So admit your failures.
May you sharpen your skills and achieve success beyond...
I really do think it's funny how good anime food looks, because most of the dishes they show, I don't think I would actually like. But they make them look so goddamn tasty.
I wonder how many steps ahead do you see, Lord Ainz? I'm flying by the seat of my pants. Like now, when I can't think of something cool to say. Speaking of cool, I remember a guild in Yggdrasil called the Millennium Kingdom.
It's a similar criticism that I had with Mushoku Tensei. The show doesn't seem to think that will be a problem. If that remains as something that is not a problem and doesn't come to bite him in the ass massively later on, that becomes a writing problem. Because you can't have this much setup for you not being that smart when everyone else around you is. And they all think you're the most intelligent fucking man on the planet. And don't have like a turning point with that. Like, it's just not how a good story works.
Your vision of the future is mine as well.
I'm counting on you, Demiurge.
Yeah, maybe don't let Demiurge and Albedo
Completely understand, Lord Ainz.
in on it.
What are we understanding?
But maybe you should let some of the others in on it. I feel like if everyone knew, Demiurge would be the most likely to turn on him. Because I feel like Demiurge may actually have the potential to, like, take him down with intellect. I'm sad we never saw the twins get a lot of focus in this art style with the endings before. They look great. This is still such a weird tone for an ending for the show. Like, I'm not even sure this would fit ReZero. And that show is more fucked up, but it's not the protagonist who's doing the fucked up things. Outside of episode 13. Well, yeah, as I kind of figured, that arc lasted until episode 7. Kind of frustrating that dragged on for a bit, and I wasn't super invested in it. But whatever. It's shorter than the less interesting arcs have been in the other seasons. And I do get the feeling it will be more important in the long run than other stuff was, like the Lizard Men arc. They have been in the background of like 4 scenes since that arc ended. I feel like this might actually have some substantial stuff going forward. Even if not with this specific dwarf, I think the creation of those weapons has to be something made more major going forward, I'd feel. And I feel like the rest of the season's probably going to be focusing on whatever was being set up with the Riestes Kingdom. I'm really excited for the movie. Once I finish this, I'll rewatch the trailers fully. Because I watched the announcement trailer, which was, like a year ago at this point? Anime movies take a long time. Granted, it's not Walpurgis Nacht Rising bad. Or Evangelion Thrice Upon a Time bad. This one only took like 2-3 years.
Since we refused the Holy Kingdom's request for aid, they had to turn to the Sorcerer King instead. His forces defeated Yaldabaoth and even provided some generous post-war relief.
If you didn't want them to deliver the supplies, then you shouldn't.
I don't think Yaldabaoth did anything in Season 3, because it was mostly setting up the creation of the Sorcery Kingdom. And I was pretty sure that the fight with him and Momon happened in Irantel. So did they just spoil the movie for us? If memory serves, the Holy Kingdom is a separate entity from the main three that we've been working with so far. Because it's the Baharuth Empire, the Slain Theocracy, and the Riestes Kingdom. And I feel like these two wouldn't be talking like this if they were talking about their own kingdom. So the Holy Kingdom's got to be a different thing. Yeah, and it was Momon that fought Yaldabaoth, not Ainz. I mean, publicly speaking, that's what happened. Did they just spoil the movie? Is that entire thing like a flashback? Are the events here out of order? Or is that going to be like something else entirely then?
The Sorcerer King slaughtered us. Siding with him would cause a civil war.
Pessimism doesn't look flattering on you.
What is her goal?
I know she's just taunting me, but why do I get the feeling she wouldn't object if I bowed down to them? If only I had Elias's guidance.
I can't tell if Renaer is after more than we know. Because so far she's shown no interest in the world of politics really on her own stuff. Her fake persona has shown a desire to do the obviously moral things and like improve the lives of people in this world by abolishing slavery and that kind of deal. Her, I guess, real persona has only really shown an interest in Climb and kind of, by extension, destroying his body so she can keep him as a pet and cause him to be completely dependent on her. I thought that was her long-term goal. I feel like her joining with Ainz, or at least Albedo, behind the back of her family, I feel like that can't just be for what she wants with Climb. So does she want something? I feel like if she does, we haven't really seen it yet. Politically, she's in a pretty solid position and has a decent amount of favor with her brother, who would be the next king. I don't know where the current king is. We saw him last season. He kind of hasn't shown up since then. So it's not like Renaer is going to be lacking political power. Where is this going? Because I think Albedo was also discussing an invasion of this kingdom, which is completely in line with what she and Demiurge are going for. I don't know if Ainz knows about that plan yet. That was probably in the things that he signed or stamped at the beginning of the season, and he didn't even realize it. And I get the feeling that now Renaer is going to be a part of that. Plus, she was getting that noble to, I don't know if side with the Sorcery Kingdom is the right word, but she was laying a lot of connections in this kingdom while discussing an invasion, so yeah, I'm just going to let it play. I want to see where it goes.
Marquis Raven, I doubt we'll be able to convince him to return to the capital.
I feel like they've mentioned Marquis Raven too many times for him not to be relevant later on. I think the YouTube version of this has distorted audio because that moment at the start is way more crunchy. Yeah, given that we see a Death Knight fighting in the streets and Brain fighting Cocytus, I feel like we're building up to Riestes versus Nazarick war, which you would think would be a complete one-sided massacre, but that sequence near the end of the opening with Ainz and Albedo fighting unknown characters adds a bit of doubt to that theory.
We don't have the manpower. Too many people died, or those crops can't grow in this climate. Excuses!
Isn't that how it always goes? When you're ahead of the times, the world never understands you.
If only someone else would recognize my sizable talents.
I don't know if I'd say that. At least one commoner believes in what you can do.
Only thing sizable about this dude is the ego.
It's sent as aid to the Holy Kingdom. I've seen it myself since convoys from the Sorcerer Kingdom have been so brazenly traveling through my land.
That sounds...
They're bringing up the Holy Kingdom so much. I'm going to do everything I can to avoid spoilers here, but I just want to check that the Holy Kingdom isn't something that we're familiar with. Robel Holy Kingdom. Okay. Yeah. I don't think they've ever mentioned that name of a nation, but it's the Holy Kingdom, which they're always referring to. So, yeah, I get the feeling that the movie might be happening at the same time as this season, which I wasn't expecting. Usually they've done a pretty good job of balancing out the storyline so that anything that's happening concurrently, you see pretty closely to each other.
Lord Ainz.
What is it, Intuma?
I'm sorry for the interruption, but Lady Albedo is requesting your presence at the Great Tomb of Nazarick as soon...
Dubbers got lazy with that one. I can tolerate less than stellar acting, but I'm pretty sure that was genuinely the incorrect casting. Okay. Well, Japanese version didn't care anyway. For those who don't understand why I'm bringing this up, so Entema as a character has a very distorted voice naturally, and that's done by Tia Ballard from what I could tell, and I guess Inkei Shindo from, I'm not sure I'm saying that right, for the Japanese version. And she, in the first, I don't know if she talked in season 1, but in the second season definitely, she has her normal voice that we just heard. That's like through a vocal like creature thing, like a bug. The way they explain it is that it can take someone's vocal cords and then she uses those vocal cords to sound the same way that that person did. The traveler or adventurer group that got beaten at Nazarick in season 3, the one who was trying to protect her sisters, this girl. Okay, well, first, in season 2, near the end, Entema got hit by Evil Eye's anti-bug spells, and that killed the thing that was replicating whatever voice she had had. And then in season 3, after this girl is killed, they make a specific point of showing off that Entema now has her voice, which makes me curious about something here. Okay. That's extremely lazy on the part of the Japanese dub, and I'm pretty sure the English dub didn't remember or care. Because I like this voice actress well enough, but in terms of lore, this should be the voice actor who's now voicing Entema. And I get the feeling they might have just forgotten and only noticed that it was the same voice actress in Japanese because for some reason it's the same voice actress for this character in Japanese, which is really fucking lazy on their part. Yeah, let's have a character whose vocal cords get replaced by another character, but let's have the character whose vocal cords they get replaced with, like let's have those new vocal cords be the same fucking vocal cords. That won't be stupid in any way. Yeah, knowing the Japanese dub got lazy with it too makes me care less that the English fucked it up, but it's not going to bother me in the long term. She had one scene using that voice, so just one of those things where it does technically completely break the story so far. If it was her real voice, that'd be one thing.
Albedo is requesting your presence at the Great Tomb of Nazarick as soon as possible.
Oh?
A few episodes ago I mentioned
my call so quickly, Lord
that
Ainz.
Nazarick wasn't brought up,
before you.
but here we are.
It was 4 days ago. One of the convoys we deployed to the Holy Kingdom was robbed. They were ambushed in Riestes.
I see. And the culprit?
That's shocking.
It was a noble.
I'm kind of surprised they wouldn't have had any guards on their own convoys. Even some of their weakest grunts, like, they have enough of them that they could compensate with numbers. Am I the only one who remembered this part of Albedo's outfit being skin and not clothing? I thought that was just an opening in the dress. I've noticed that a couple times throughout the season now.
Furthermore,
I felt like
the carrot should have been flying
different.
our flag.
We formulated a plan to take over the Riestes kingdom by manipulating a witless noble.
Yes, the one you've been sending letters to, correct?
Oh, okay, he knew about that.
Personal letters, I swear.
I'm a little bit surprised that Ainz was in on that plan. That seems like the type of thing Demiurge would think up, and then Ainz wouldn't know about it until it's almost completely in motion already. But apparently he's known the entire time. Okay, and now look at the coloring here. Now it's the same as her skin. Earlier, that was not what that was colored like. Am I crazy? Editing me. Layer over her arm on her thigh here. Is that the same color? And, I mean, Like, even if it is, why is the crease on her outfit then going into her skin? This should not be bothering me this much, but, like, in this shot, that very clearly looks like her thigh instead of the outfit now. I don't know why I'm this bothered by that.
But she's still his superior. His mistakes are hers, too. A leader must always take responsibility.
I warned him many times. I had him monitored.
What you said is correct. A superior should be responsible for the mistakes of their subordinates. However, those words should be used by a leader to protect their followers. It shouldn't be used by another to force responsibility on someone beneath them. If she is responsible for that noble, who is responsible for her?
Well, that would be me, my lord.
Correct. Signeus, prepare several new policy changes and present them to Albedo. That will be your punishment.
That was so shockingly wise and well handled on his part. I mean, that was a very good way to pretty much remove all blame based on what Albedo's argument was, on top of just being kind of a based take. To the point I kind of wonder if he practiced that shit.
That noble is nothing. But what if someone is using him for a much larger agenda?
Like you're doing?
Change our approach. Can we conquer Riestes?
I think it's so interesting that they rely so heavily on political machinations for this stuff. Because, like, let's be real. Ainz could fucking nuke the capital if he wanted. There's genuinely no reason they couldn't just take it by outright force. Yet they just refuse to do that. And it's not like it's just Ainz not wanting to do that. It's everyone else who's also kind of in on that. To some degree, I do get it, because he's wary about what happened with Shaltir, but even still, I feel like that might lure people out. And I mean, he's level 100, so he's max level. The only thing that could reasonably be a threat to him is a character with a build... Okay, my VR app reset my location. The only thing that could reasonably be a threat to him is another player who has a build or class or equip set or magic-like build that specifically would be good at countering Ainz. Like a focus on counter spells, mage tanking, and holy or fire magic. Like, someone with that exact build would be the only real threat to him. Unless they were in a group, obviously, but even then, most of Nazarick is at a high enough strength level that it would take a lot of players of Ainz's caliber to actually pose a legitimate threat in the long run. Shaltir alone is probably equivalent to a level 100, and I mean, for the most part, I would say a lot of these guys cover each other's weaknesses. Like, obviously, you got Shaltir and Ainz, who are both undead, so a lot of the same things would be effective on them. I don't know how holy magic would work on demons like Albedo and Demiurge, but I imagine it wouldn't be much effective on Cocytus, who is probably then weak to fire. However, demons like Demiurge and Albedo probably aren't weak to fire. Dark Elves are just a completely separate thing entirely. There's a bunch of other really bizarre creatures like the Torturer, the Bug Guy. Nazarick has a incredibly diverse and powerful army, not even including the actual armies, like the undead legions. Like, just the major figures of it constitute an army. So the only reason to legitimately be afraid is if you think there's an entire guild of players who would come after you. And frankly, I think if you made it clear that you were a player in any regard, they might be willing to set aside quite a bit in order to just have a civil discussion instead. Though that also kind of forces you to consider the question of, what if there's someone on the player's level who isn't a player? Because they wouldn't be as willing to discuss. But I feel like both Ainz and I kind of assume that no normal being in this world who's not originally a player would be anywhere near his level. Anyway, that's my overly long rant about why I find it interesting they go for political instead of warmongering. I think I find it most interesting that Demiurge goes for that, because Demiurge is a fucking legitimate fucking psychopath. Like, he has genuinely zero care for any entity that isn't in Nazarick. They are all objects to benefit him and Ainz. So I find it interesting that he also prioritizes the more political side of things. I mean, he'd be good at it. I'm just kind of surprised he cares about it.
Humans are not smart at all.
That makes enough sense to me.
There is no noble wise enough to outsmart Lord Ainz, so I don't see why we had to use one quite so stupid. Couldn't you find a smart one? Or are they all this useless?
Some are sensible. In fact, we have decided to gather all the useless nobles in a faction together. A wastebasket we can burn when the time comes.
Ah, a fine plan.
For now,
yeah, that is
let's
smart.
decide on how we should respond to this noble.
Kind of makes it more clear what the idea is with them.
The convoy, how should we punish such a brazen attack?
Kill them and move on.
What?
So, we execute all those involved in the robbery?
That's not enough.
I'm surprised he's surprised.
I say the entire kingdom should be punished for their impudence.
I concur, my lord.
That would be my judgment as well.
They're already planning on conquering it.
We may have to scrap, or at least substantially rework our plans.
I see.
Seems like a waste to toss everything out just like that.
Has our plan truly failed?
Oh no.
No. What a fool I've been.
Don't.
That is right.
Why would you say it like that?
I see now.
I what?
Both of Ainz's voice actors are so good. I think this is definitely one of the more mediocre dubs I watch. I think a lot of the Floor Guardians are pretty solid, but a lot of the supporting cast is pretty weak. Early on, Brain was not very good. Climb is can be a bit iffy. I can't fucking remember the Red Knight's name for the life of me. Can't fucking think of his name, but he wasn't great either. But I think a lot of the parts of Nazarick are pretty good. The Emperor is a pretty good voice actor. But I feel like the standouts for the show have always been both of Ainz's voice actors. They both absolutely nailed the complete and utter disconnect from his mind and the way he presents himself. Just the sounds of shock that the internal voice makes. Peak. Absolute cinema.
We'll give Riestes a truly wicked punishment.
What?
The Empire bowed to us quickly, so...
Indeed.
No, no, no!
Let us begin this meeting of the royal court. They've placed their seal here, alongside the seals of the Baharuth Empire, the Dragon Kingdom, and the Dwarven Kingdom. Next to them is the seal of the Holy Kingdom, and the seal of one individual known as Faceless, who seems to hold authority over their temples.
Huh.
Sorcerer Kingdom.
More and more interested with the Holy Kingdom.
Conspiracy, but frankly, even
I
if
have
there
no
is,
idea what's going
this
on
falls
with it.
Squarely on our shoulders.
Speaking on the Holy Kingdom, I think it's really interesting that they've seemed to get amicable relations with them, or even like an ally partnership with them. Given, I don't know how well Demiurge can hide the fact that he's a demon. Like, he's got the ears and he's got the tail. That's a little bit hard to hide. Ears more so, but he's also got like crystal eyes, I think. And I mean, with the Slain Theocracy, they use their religion to justify human superiority. And generally speaking, especially in fantasy stuff, religions are generally more bigoted, especially towards like monsters and beast folk and all that kind of stuff. So I just think it's interesting that a Holy Kingdom is on friendly terms with Ainz and his group. That movie is sounding more interesting by the moment. Plus, I think I've heard some of the novel readers say that arc is really good. And it seems like a Demiurge focus kind of thing. And outside of the Ainz cocksucking, he is a very entertaining character. He's a horrible fucking person, but he's very entertaining.
I'm firmly opposed to it. Call me cowardly if you like, but this isn't a battle we can hope to win. So yes, I would offer up the life of a nobleman, innocent or not. I refuse to see our nation come to ruin.
I have to admit, the design of the prince is the type of character who, in a lot of other stories, would not be that interesting or compelling. I think he's legitimately one of the more complex supporting characters. And he's, like, decently intelligent, honestly. Usually that kind of character design is done to show that they're completely incompetent.
Prime Minister Albedo will arrive in the royal capital any moment now. Prepare the throne room and I will meet with her myself.
Still interesting to hear her get called the Prime Minister. Like, it fits where she is in the hierarchy, but just so weird.
Furthermore, if I were to offer my head to you,
Would that be enough to settle this matter?
Oh. Huh. That's certainly a choice on his part. Did he just have a spike of fear once he was faced with one of their representatives again? Or was he planning that from the start? Because that puts the kingdom in a far worse position than killing one noble. You kill one noble, you make yourself seem a bit subservient and willing to do what you need to maintain your relationship with them. You let the king get executed, you're basically already bending the knee and encouraging instability in your region. If he plans to martyr himself, not the best choice, I feel. The more focus on Ainz this season has led me to wonder if some of his choices throughout the previous 2 seasons come from scenarios like this, where things just kind of spiral out of control and the Guardians fantasizing about what he's thinking about and then creating a plan that he just kind of ends up having to go along with in order to keep their trust in his eyes. Because I'm pretty sure he thinks that if he ever admits that he doesn't know what he's doing at all, that I'll turn on him, which I'm not sure I entirely disagree with, but I'm also saying it's way more unlikely than it is likely. And frankly, the more it happens, the worse it's going to get if it does come out. And I don't know if I can trust this writer enough to have that kind of thing come out. Because that would genuinely be a massive shift for the story. I'd be very curious how that kind of thing would be handled. Because, yeah, I mean, at this point, he's kind of been backed into a corner by the Guardians when it comes to a war with Riestes. Because now, if he doesn't do this, he has to try and figure out how to explain that this wasn't his intent in the first place. I'm so curious what's going on with the Holy Kingdom. And with Demiurge only being gone for a small chunk of this season, I'm curious if the Holy Kingdom arc is entirely taking place in the earlier portion of the show, or if it's like after this. Because the development into that arc might just be what we see in this season, and then we go into that arc, which happens after the events of this one. But I feel like they kind of have to give some explanation for what the hell is going on with that stuff. Also, they mentioned one of the stamps was like the Dragon Nation or something. So, were those ice dragons considered an entire nation? Because if so, that's odd.